wonderful workshop, and I wish that it will be a fruitful one. So my name is Abdullah. I am a master holder from the Faculty of Education in Applied Linguistics and English Language Teaching, and now I am a teacher trainee in TRMF Safi. And today, inshallah, I will be sharing with you some information about test construction and how you can effectively test your learners.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you. Nice
Thank
to
you
meet
all.
Yeah. So Mr. Abdel Fattah, as he said, he got his master's in education from the Faculty of Education here, Rabat, Irfan. And next year he's gonna teach. He's gonna be a public school teacher. So he has an experience in teaching. He has good knowledge about teaching, and now he's also a trainee at Siramef in Safi or Marrakesh. Abdel Fattah.
In Safi, yes, in Safi. I'm a teacher trainee in Safi.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So yeah. Now the question to all of you: do you have any question you can ask before we start?
So please feel free. We want this workshop to be interactive. So if you have any questions before we start, you can ask. And if you do not understand anything while presenting, you just interrupt me, and then we can all clarify things.
Good. Yeah. Any question that we can move?
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
I'm sorry
No,
for
sir.
being late.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah. No question. Okay, so let's start our session. I want someone to remind me what we covered last time exactly. Any volunteer? Show the hand. Yes, Abdelrazak.
Me, sir. Me, sir.
Okay, we have covered last time error correction. We learned how when to correct, how to correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
For example,
Yes. Yes, Mr. Abdelrazak, for example.
okay, we covered last time when to correct and how to correct. We say when to correct when student. For example, I don't know how to say it. Okay.
Good. Can someone help? Yeah, another one. Show the hand. Hafsa.
Okay. Yeah, last time we covered error correction, when to correct the student, how to correct the student in the categories of errors, and I mean how to correct writing or speaking, and how to deal with students who made errors, and also we saw or we knew now the difference between the error and the mistake.
Excellent, good. Now, can someone remind me about the approaches of errors or error correction? We talked about three different approaches. Yes, just show the hand. I'm going to give you the floor. Okay, Umayma.
Hello, Mr. Hussein.
Hello.
Well, so last session we covered the error correction. We learned what is the difference between mistake and error. Also, we learned about the techniques of correction, like using gestures.
Perfect. Good.
Using terminology.
All right, good. Yes, yeah, that's interesting. I want another one. Can someone remind me about the most important difference between a mistake and an error? Any volunteer? So Raja,
Yeah, hello.
hello.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Well, it's been a long time I didn't attend your sessions, but well, I've just
Ramadan,
read
yeah.
about the art. Yes, no, it's not because of Ramadan, it's because of work. I told you.
Yeah,
I
okay,
told
no
you the
problem.
problem at work.
Yeah, I know those who are working in the private sector, it's very tough.
Yes,
Yeah, a lot of work. Yeah,
yes, yes.
all right. So what's the
So,
difference between a mistake and an error?
well, the mistake, as I read in the article you said last time, mistake is a mistake which is it's not an error, is a mistake that the student or the learner knows about it, but it's just slip of tongue or something. uh, he said he says the mistakes without paying attention. It's just a slip of tongue or something like this. But the error is a mistake that he doesn't know about it. He ignores the right correction of that mistake. So he's in need of rapid interruption, maybe. Or
Perfect. Okay, thank you,
yes,
Raja. Now, what about the
you're welcome.
procedures? When a student makes the mistake, how would you proceed? How would you correct? What's the first step? Any volunteer again? So the students make the mistake. Okay, so Najwa. Najwa, your mic? Okay.
So hello everyone. So the first thing we do is we delay the correction till the end of the activity.
So we all the time delay?
Not all the time.
Or it depends? Is the activity based on accuracy or fluency?
Exactly. If the activity is based on fluency, we delay. If the activity is based on fluency, we delay the correction until the end. But if it is based on accuracy, we try to correct or try to help the student correct himself by using the techniques we discussed last session, such as using gestures, reformulating, repeat utterance, and so on.
Okay, interesting, good. Yeah, and the first step is number one, to self-correct. The students should correct him or herself. The teacher is just prompting, helping, okay, showing where the mistake is. If the students couldn't correct herself, then the second step is inviting other students to help. Okay, if the students couldn't help, then the teacher, of course, should correct. Okay, what about the techniques? The last question, the techniques. Can you remind me of the techniques number one? Yes, other Umayma.
So the first technique, using gestures.
Good.
Like use the fingers.
Excellent.
For
Good.
example, when there is for example, when the teacher asks about simple past and the student use present simple.
Yeah.
So it's so the teacher will show by her fingers, and she put down the second fingers like that. It means that there is a mistake or there is an error in the second verb.
Interesting. Good. Yes, others, another technique. All right, thank you. Halima.
Repeat the utterance.
Yeah, you repeat. Okay, where the mistake is exactly. Interesting. Good. Asma. Your mic?
Yes, using terminology.
Perfect. Can you give us some examples of terminology?
For example, there is a grammar mistake.
All
I am going to tell him what is so grammar. And the student is going to pay attention to grammar or punctuation or vocabulary, tense, all of
Perfect.
that.
That's interesting. Thank you. Okay, so let me share with you the exercise that I gave you last time. We are gonna spend about 10 minutes, then we start our workshop on testing learners. So can you see all of you? Yes? Okay, good. So just 1 second. I saw Asma raising her hand. Let me give you the floor. Okay, just 1 second to fix this problem. Okay, Asma, yes.
It was a mistake. I apologize.
Ah, yeah, no problem. Yeah, another one. For number 1, for the first exercise, I want you here to put into order. So letters A to F below describe different correction techniques. Put them in order from one least directive. Here the teacher does little to point out that an error has been made and does not indicate where and what the problem is. Choose number 6, most directive. The teacher very clearly indicates the place and nature of the error. Can we start with the list from 1 to 6? So what do you think? What's number 1?
Sir? I think it's S.
It's F. Others, what do you think? Yes, Halima.
Sir?
Yes.
I think it's the C.
C.
Sir,
Others, yeah.
for me it's B. B.
B.
Sir,
B.
I think it's C.
Oh my God. A lot of different answers. Yeah,
B.
what is? Yes.
Sir, it's B.
Adil?
It's B. It's B.
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 B. It's B.
B.
Yeah.
Yeah, B.
I think it's B too.
Sir, it's C.
I think it's C.
Because the teacher doesn't indicate that an error has been made.
No, it just repeats. He repeats the student's error.
Yeah, what about F?
F, I think F is has more details. I mean, he pointed to grammar, the verb. So
Yeah.
it's number 2 for me.
Yes.
He specifies.
Yes, I agree with
the
Hafsa.
problem. He specifies the problem by saying grammar.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
same, sir. Yeah.
So you said number 1 is, all of you, is B.
C.
C.
B or
Yeah.
C?
B.
B.
B. C, it's, I think.
C.
C is the last one.
Yes, C is the last
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
And
Exactly.
C is the last
C
one.
is the last one.
The least.
Yeah, because the teacher
He already
proves or proved the or showed the answer. So you went.
The teacher here reformulates the answer.
Yeah, he recast the answer, so it's the last one. C.
Okay.
Very direct.
Yeah, it's very confusing here. Anyway, let's move to the second one. The teacher repeats the student's error with a rising intonation and perhaps a quizzical facial expression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
This
number
is number
1.
1. This is number 1.
I
Yes,
think
number
it's
one.
number 2 because the teacher shows that there is something wrong, but he didn't indicate what is exactly.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with
Where is number 1 if B is not number 1?
It's C. It's C.
It's-
Number 1 is
No,
C.
He doesn't
Yeah.
indicate
More
anything.
direct.
C,
Yes,
he
Hafsa?
gave I think C is the last one because the teacher recasts. I mean, he gave the answer. So you went to the movies yesterday. Here is the answer. He corrected it. But in B, he did not. He only give hints by his intonation to make the student correct himself.
I agree with
Teacher, sir, can I answer?
Yes, Maryam?
Yes, I think C is number one because even though he repeated with the correct answer, he didn't show any facial expression. He just moved on.
Exactly.
Yes, and
No
B
effort
by
to show
So
by
for me, I think C is number one. He corrected and moved on without showing anything, any clue that he made a mistake.
But here the question is, we must go directive one by one, not only.
So let's, Adil,
Well,
can you read the instruction again?
from, it's from the list directive to
Yes, the least direct.
Letters A, yeah, good. Letters A to F below describe different correction techniques. Put them in order from one, least directive. Here we have from one, least directive.
Yes.
The
Yes.
teacher
Yeah,
does
but-
little to point out.
So
Point
what
out that
here,
So,
here, the least
can I-
directive, the least directive. It means that the
So-
teacher is not giving the answer, but trying
Yeah.
his or her best
Yeah.
to push the student to know the answer by him or herself. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what do you
Yes.
think again?
It's
No,
B.
but
Always.
sir,
Yeah.
wait.
See, he gave the answer in C. He said, "So you went to the movies yesterday." He gave the answer, so it's not C. For me, this is not C. It's a B.
Yeah.
I
So
don't.
do I. C is the last one. Is number 6.
I agree.
Okay.
But if we go to the direction on the exercise, if we read again what is the least directive, it says the teacher does little to point out that an error has been made.
Yeah.
He doesn't point out. He could say it without pointing out that
Okay.
he
Yeah.
made. That's the
That's
point. Because here in C you have a clue. The teacher repeats the utterance without expression.
Yes.
I think,
But-
for me, I
agree with
believe this
Maryam.
is
Yes, I
but-
agree.
this is not more. It makes sense.
For me, if I was a teacher and I gave the answer, so why I would hint to the answer after it? I give the answer. So why this is like a process, I think, in this exercise. We have like stages. The first thing he did is that he hinted to the mistake, and then he is trying to get the student recognize the mistake by himself, and you will see here many things like the first afterwards you will tell, okay, this is grammar, then okay, just pay attention to the tense. Then he was trying to give him the time to think about the mistake. So I think for me it's no way to be C, because he said you went, so it's the answer.
All
This is
right.
what I think.
Good.
It's very confusing.
Very confusing.
It is confusing and debatable at the same time because
Yeah.
it depends on each of us how they see things. For me,
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. This is the right, Maryam, this is the right answer. Yeah, it depends how you approach mistakes and how you see them. So let me give you the correction. I took this
Yes,
exercise. I took this exercise from a TEFL book. Okay, and me too. I don't agree about the order, but I'm gonna give you the correction. You see, so when I read the answers of this exercise, yeah, I felt that there was something wrong, but it depends. Okay, it depends on you as a teacher. It depends on your classroom. It depends on the type of the mistake. It depends on the level of learners, etc. But we can agree on the first and the last, the least and the most. Okay, directive. So here for number one, number one is F. Okay. So
Okay.
you may not, you may find it confusing. Okay, number one is F. Number two is A.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes, Asma? Or Kautar, who is talking?
No, it's Awatif.
Awatif, yes.
No,
please.
it's not me.
What? E.
Sorry.
Sir, you are not correcting in the right way. You should write one in front of F, not F
yeah.
in front of
Thank
A.
you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So number one, let me just give you the correction. Number one is F. F is number one.
Number
okay.
one.
Then we can discuss. Number two. What's number two?
You say A.
You said A.
You said it's A.
Yeah, number two is A. Number three is D.
B.
Number four, B. Number five is E.
E. So C is number 6.
Very good answer. Are you fasting?
Because
Safa, والصايم ولا ما صايمش?
Of course, I'm fasting.
Thank you. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we still have 10 minutes. Then we continue again. All right. Yeah. So, what do you think about these answers? Do you think they make sense or are very confusing, or somehow there is a debate about them?
It must be a debate about them. Really.
Perfect. We all the time, when we talk about teaching, there is no perfect strategy. There is no perfect way. There is no perfect procedure. All the time we say it depends. It depends on what? On the age of learners, levels, type of the lesson, gender, size of the class, all these things. So it's not like mathematics, 1 + 1 = 2, but at least you have just to justify how it's gonna work if you start with this one or the other one. Okay.
Yes, understood.
Thank you. Now let's
agree to disagree.
Yeah, I agree and disagree. Yes, at the same time. Perfect. Good. Now let's continue. For the second one, the second task, some of you misunderstood this task. They wrote the techniques, but I want you to tell me how. Show me, but don't tell me. Don't just write, but show how can you correct these mistakes. For example, here, number one, my mother is a doctor. How can you correct this one? What technique can you use? Hafsa.
I said that I will use the symbols, like I will put P besides doctor, because this is like a writing task.
Good. So you can write P. It's punctuation.
P, punctuation, yes. And the students already know the
Very
meaning of
good.
P.
Interesting. Another answer.
Accuracy task.
Sorry?
Sir, the same thing.
The same.
Sir,
Yes.
the same answer, because it is an accuracy task, and it would be the P. P punctuation, the symbol of P.
Very good. Yes. Any other suggestions? Good. For the second one, what is doing Nisreen? What is doing Nisreen? How can you correct it? Yes, please. Yeah. The one who raised her hand, yes, please.
Yes, by using fingers.
Very good.
Or maybe repeating the utterance.
What
is doing Nisreen? And then pushing the student to actually give the right answer.
Good. Or we can use the fingers. What is doing? And here, the problem is here, for example, with Nisreen.
Yes, highlight the word order.
Okay, the word order. Yes, Sukaina. Good. Or you can say terminology, technique. What's
Is it a writing task or teacher?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a writing task or just in communication, conversation?
Yeah, let's imagine there are two, accuracy and fluency.
So if it is accuracy, I can see I can use the symbol grammar G for grammar, problem of grammar. If it is fluency, I can use gestures with fingers and mention the past with finger. I use my finger too.
All right, good. The third one, does
mention the present time.
Okay, yes, thanks, Raja. Does he will travel? How can you correct it? Your student's answer is like this, speaking, talking. Does he will travel?
We can use terminology like we say grammar, tense.
Good. Yeah. So you can use terminology, grammar, or you can repeat. You repeat what?
The utterance.
Okay. What word exactly?
You repeat tense.
Does.
Yeah. Yeah. Does he travel? Does he will travel? The tense. Or you can give him choices.
Yes, we can say, does he will travel or will he travel?
Good. Yeah, so there are different techniques. The most important is to be aware of all these techniques. Then you can choose one of them when to use when correcting. It depends on the type of the mistake. The next one, my friend Karima is handsome. Yes, Sukaina.
We can ask questions. We say, my friend Karima is handsome or pretty.
Good. Fatima Zahra.
We can mention just the name, Karima.
Yes, Fatima Zahra.
I used asking question as a technique. Maybe we can ask about the gender. Karima is a feminine, so should we say an open question? Should we say handsome or beauty or pretty? Maybe.
Okay, so this is when we talk about fluency. Now, what about if it's in writing? How would you correct it? Writing.
Use the terminology, wrong word.
Vocabulary.
You underline handsome and write V.
WW.
Yes.
Vocabulary.
Mustafa.
Wrong word or vocabulary.
For me, if it was writing, I will underline the word, the vocabulary, handsome, and write V to mention that there's a vocabulary mistake. And if this is in speaking, like I will share the same idea my friend said. So I will use ask question as a technique and raise the students' attention to the gender-related vocabulary, handsome or beautiful. So here I may raise another question, say, is she is she beautiful, or is she a girl, or is she a boy?
Okay, interesting. Yes, Rashida. Any other suggestions?
Yes, here I can say it's a wrong word, and I can just use like a gesture or think or asking question will be better in this case if it is a fluency activity.
Okay. What about translation? Do we say Karima, Wasim? Can we use it?
Translation.
Yeah, Wasim. Do we say for girls, do we say Wasima or Jamila? Or both?
Both are correct in Arabic.
Jamila.
No, we don't say Wasima in Arabic.
We say
Wasima. Wasima, it's a name in
Jamila.
Arabic.
Okay.
Yeah. But here it's not the name.
To mention
Arabic.
that she's beautiful, we say Jamila. Wasim just for
Arabic is rich. That's why.
Yeah.
It's
So
rich
here
of
translation also can be used when you give him or her two choices. But translation is the last thing to resort to. Don't translate unless you have no technique, no rule. There is nothing to do. Okay, then you can translate. You see my point? So as not to push them, keep a bad habit. Because all the time they will ask you, what is this in Arabic, teacher? What is this in Arabic? And they may try speaking Arabic in your classes. And your job is to encourage them to speak English. So we resort to translation when there is no technique can work. Then we can do that. Okay. Now the last one. She played soccer yesterday. Awatifa.
Me, sir. Me, sir.
Yes, sir.
She plays soccer yesterday.
Using,
Me,
I
sir.
can use hand gesture or repeating the utterance to indicate where is the mistake exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Amina.
Me, sir, please.
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah. Yes.
Sorry for me using terminology.
So what do you say?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Hello.
Oh, good. So the one who said please, yes, go ahead.
For me, terminology.
Yes,
Sorry.
sir.
Okay. Using terminology, saying what exactly? Grammar.
Yeah, grammar, because there is
Grammar,
a mistake grammar.
All right.
Yeah,
So there are different techniques. Good. The last one. This is a kind of summary. You summarize the whole session. Okay. So we say error correction. We tackle the types, the time, the occasions, when to correct and not to correct, and the techniques. Now, the types of errors.
Grammar.
Grammar.
Location.
So